D2 is the third game of Warp's Laura trilogy, the first two being D and Enemy Zero. This is the crazy one. I mean, people have been saying relatively recently that finally, video games have matured enough to the point where they can actually tell mature stories, incorporate real mature themes, tackle societal issues head on with biting commentary, and then rub the player's nose in it all for participating in the first place. You know, revenge is an endless cycle, war has changed.
War has changed.
War never changes.
War never changes.
Don't kill your friends unless superpowers made them evil. Don't be afraid of who you are because your head comes off. But so this crusty game from the year 2000 on a doomed console has so much to say. Packed full of intentions, a few pretensions. D2 is a game about humanity, love, destiny, responsibility, self-sacrifice, prejudice, forgiveness, drug addiction. The nature of being a self, to be alive. And then you crack open this manual and it reads like a joke. Canada. Christmas 2000. In the skies over Canada, Laura's plane has been hijacked by terrorists. The plane is filled with screams, shouts, and fear as the hijackers terrorize the passengers and crew. In one of the seats, a black-robed magician gazes into a crystal, chanting the phrase, "Shadow, the final destroyer." Mysterious indeed. Laura's compact begins to glow. A vision of a meteorite hurtling towards the Earth is reflected in the mirror. Suddenly, the plane is struck by the same meteorite that appeared in the vision and falls towards the frozen tundra below. In the middle of a raging blizzard, Laura opens her eyes to find herself inside a mountain cabin. She was saved by Kimberly, one of the passengers of the wrecked plane. 10 days have passed since the crash, but Laura can remember nothing. Not even her name. The door of the cabin opens, and one of the terrorists enters. While Kimberly and Laura stare in horror, he transforms into a hideous monster. He is not the only one. Wow. So D2 is on 4 discs, which the other 2 games were on multiple discs as well, but something to note here is that when you put disc 1 in, there's an option to play the opening movie. Sounds like a great place to start. So I click it, and this shows up. Why? And then it's a minute-long clip of a guy walking through some snow. Alright, so take out disc 4, put disc 1 back in, and let's start for real. Right off the bat, you can feel the D DNA. The game begins in an all-too-familiar first-person exploration, searching around point-and-click style for items, except in this game, the graphics are all in real time. You know something's up when the first gun you ever find is a submachine gun with infinite ammo. After the brief encounter with the mutated terrorist, Laura and Kimberly are saved by Parker, and it's unclear if they have some sort of history or just a lot of shit went down the past 10 days.
You heard.
Don't touch me. Get out of here.
Just a minute. What do you think you're doing?
Get the hell out of here.
Wait.
Something Warp seems to love doing with these D sequels is starting you off with something familiar, a perspective like this, and then pulling the rug out from underneath you. Enemy Zero did it with its sudden Doom-style maze segments. And in D2 it takes it a step further as you go out into this tundra. You realize, oh, this is like a whole-ass horror game. The outside environment is huge, and you're free to explore at your leisure. Inevitably, your Dreamcast starts freaking out. The screen shakes and the game reveals a new layer. Random battles, complete with experience point gains and level ups. The battles themselves are basic. You're locked in place, surrounded by monsters, and you have to shoot your way out, ideally targeting weak points to keep from getting hit yourself. These battles are really just there to waste your resources, so that taking these excursions out into the wilderness feels like you're putting something on the line, making the world more threatening. It's simple but effective, with the leveling adding a nice sort of sense of progression. You're getting something for spending your resources. For some reason this game has hunting, but it feels next gen. Being able to see a little white speck off in the distance, a snow hare, and sniping it is cutting edge stuff. I mean, this draw distance is completely new. And like with any new thing, it's got some flaws. It's too funny that the scope doesn't use a true zoom effect, but it physically moves an in-game camera forward. It's kind of hard to explain, but the scope's camera has collision, so if you're zooming in on like a hill, the camera can get hung up on it, and sometimes even like slide over it and around it. The aiming itself on the hunting rifle is the shakiest shit in the world, and the first time I ever played this game, I had to have missed 80% of my shots. Because I suspect that since the scope camera is a physical object, if you zoom too close, it can actually be seen by the animals and they run away. But this crazy draw distance also serves to guide you to your objectives, because the world is so desolate, everything that isn't snow sticks out like a sore thumb and draws you to it. Progress is always a clear point of interest somewhere off in the distance, leading naturally and basically working the same as a waypoint while also giving the player some agency. This is how waypoints should always be done. I love that it doesn't just tell you where to go. It's interesting enough to make you want to go there while also being visually simple enough that it doesn't get lost in a bunch of noise. I mean, people have been praising Breath of the Wild for this exact thing. 17 years after this game. I would be a happy man if this was the best video games ever looked. D2 gets crazy and goes in directions I've never seen before in a game. It's a beautiful work of art. The music's awesome. It introduced me to this guy, Arto Lindsay. Go check out Prize by Arto Lindsay. Report back. I want to spoil this whole game, but it just wouldn't mean as much coming from me, and to be honest, I'm kind of strapped for time. But you should experience it. You owe it to yourself. Good luck finding a way to play it, though.